There you are. Oh, I thought we'd have to do the show without you, Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
Podcasting will be a thrill. Grandpa and chill, grandson and friends. Podcasting Grandpa and chill will be a thrill, grandson and friends. With your hosts, Grandpa Barton, Brandon Fox, Phines Jackson, and Sierra Dawes. This is Grandpa and Chill.
All right.
Awesome. We are live. It is so good to be here. I'm Brandon Fox. This is Grandpa and Chill. Today, we have, as always,
Phines. Hello.
and
I'm Sierra, the producer. Hello.
oh boy. And of course, we got Grandpa.
Oh, hi, everybody.
Hey.
Hope you all had a good week.
Yeah.
Yes, we had a great week. We had it's so good to see you guys again, be back. Yeah. So we're doing a double whammy recording today. The first topic we got is basically how'd you phrase it, Grandpa? Dreams and reality, right?
We're talking now about the things that we would like to have in life, or the things that we would like to our ambitions.
Yeah,
We
had
the one
a
we're doing? Okay, ambition.
Yeah. Well, we had a conversation recently. I think it was about you wanted to be a singer, right? And so we were just talking about like you following your dreams, and then at some point you reach an age where it's like now you're facing reality, right? You got to get your eggs in a basket. I don't know what
I
you
would
say.
hope so.
Yeah. You gotta face the real music. So that's we can just go from there, I guess. But,
okay. Yeah, I guess our. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I was just saying, put your dreams away. That's it.
Right. For another day. That's a song.
Put your dreams. How does it go?
Put your dreams away for another day. Sinatra sings.
Yeah. My soft goal for the whole podcast is to try and get Grandpa to sing as many times as possible.
I need a little background accompaniment, but
I would sing with them.
Yeah, that would help. So, who is our first guest today?
We've got Wilson.
Hello.
Hey, Wilson.
How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm thinking about following my dreams.
That's good.
I really am. And it also forces me to face reality. You know, is there enough time for me to get there before the end?
Oh, we will make time for you, you know.
Well,
at least on
is there time for me to get to my dream before the end of my days?
Yeah.
When you're an old guy with a young man's dreams, sometimes they're hard to hit.
I feel
you don't sound old, Wilson. You sound like a young guy.
Yeah, well, I got 69 years and I earned every one of them.
Okay.
I like it.
And proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
Even more so to get your dreams. Who better than yourself?
Brandon, how long have you been in this business?
Oh, I mean, I came up with this sort of like passion idea, whatever, of acting. Maybe it's been 12 years now, so a little about half my life.
I ask because part of my story is, when asked why do you do this and when did you begin, I say that my first acting role was at the Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church in Toledo, Ohio, at 727 Vance, where I got to say E is for everlasting in the children's play. And between then and now, there's almost 50 years before I got to be on stage again. And I would like very much to repeat the two most enjoyable roles I ever had on stage. One was a August Wilson play, 7 guitars, and the other was a musical. And the musical, I'm not a singer or dancer, but we sure had a lot of fun. In any case, I'd like to be able to do those two roles again with 4 years of experience behind me. And with theater being what it is now, the chances of that happening is pretty slim. I mean, nobody's going to the movies and no one's performing on stage because we got this, this C-19 slowing us all down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You
Can I
said that
ask?
you were.
Yeah.
I'm
Go,
sorry. You
Grandpa.
said that you were in a show many years ago, and then you hadn't been in
Yes.
one for many years. What sort of performance was it? Was it on stage? Was it a movie?
Oh,
TV?
as a child, it was strictly a Easter play, Sunday school.
Okay.
You know, I don't
Okay.
know, 6-year-old, 7-year-old,
Yeah,
and the rest.
you might have given the title, but can you repeat it again? What was the name of the play or show?
Well, the Easter play, who knows? It was E is for everlasting and so forth. You know, kids play in Sunday school. That was Sunday school play. And
And,
the real role that
and
I had after that was at Fayetteville State University on stage doing an August Wilson play called Seven Guitars, and that was in 2016, which was my first adult role, serious role on stage, and it was just wonderful.
so, are you a guitarist and vocalist?
I am not.
I see.
Uh, I think that I have some vocal talents, and I have a child, a daughter that is a superior vocalist, and I've had a few lessons over the past 4 years or so. The second play was Dream Girls, the musical, which was performed at the Cape Fear Regional Theater here in Fayetteville, and we got paid every week. We did 28 shows. It was extraordinary. The most exciting thing I've ever done. And as a result, I get a chance to audition and get on stage. I'm going for it. I can consume a script.
Yeah.
You know, when they say they need you to be off book on the third day, I'll come to rehearsal about ready to put the book in my pocket on day one.
Mm-hmm.
And this is all, this is fanciful dreaming. And the reality is, I might get a chance to do it and I might not. But I'm having fun trying.
Can I ask, Wilson? There was a long gap between then and now. Like, what did you do in the meantime, and why did it take so long for you to circle back?
Grade school, high school, undergraduate school. I was major in business at the University of Evansville, and another goal as a youngster coming up was to, the big deal was to have a job that required you to wear a suit and tie, and maybe carry a briefcase, and that was that and a three-piece suit, a pair of wingtip shoes, and man, I thought I was it. And I spent 30 years or so what I call carrying a bag. That is, I sold industrial scales. You see trucks pull off the road to get weighed?
Mm-hmm.
I used to sell those scales.
Oh wow. Did you was it like a pushing type of thing, or did you was like
This was Toledo Scale Division of Reliance Electric Company. Probably at that time the largest United States scale manufacturer in the country.
I know Toledo's a big city for scales, isn't it? Toledo,
Oh, yeah.
Ohio.
Toledo, Ohio, my hometown.
Okay.
Yeah.
In fact, I heard somebody. Sierra, are you from Chicago? You were talking about the pizza?
Yeah, the Chicago area.
Oh, lived in Chicago for a number of years when, this may be before your time, when there used to be a museum out in Bolingbrook at the end of Route 55. Wonderful indoor roller coaster, the whole 9 yards.
Oh.
I spent some time in Chicago. I was with Toledo Scale first, then I spent a few years with Johnson & Johnson. My son was born at Illinois Masonic Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I was responsible for every hospital south of, let's see, what was it? What's Route 66? Route 66. It's not Michigan Avenue. It runs north and west. I'm sorry, it runs east and west. Anyway, I had a large territory that included maybe 30, 40 hospitals in Chicago and Gary, Indiana area. Again, carrying a bag.
Yeah.
And I liken sales calls to performances, and every sales call is a performance. And I've probably done 8 or 10,000 of them. When buy my product, not theirs. And
was performing in the back of your mind the whole time, or was it something that you had forgotten about and then sort of came up? You were like, once I retired.
I always thought that being in front of the customer was a show, and I'd say by the time I got to my mid 30s, I was figuring I would often retire to a used car lot and sell cars. So I'd have people to screw with. And still be outside. After I retired, and I've been in the printing business, I've been an international press franchise printer. Spent a lot of years in telecommunications, where met my wife. Now, we're knocking on 70's door, and she's working on her PhD. And people ask me, say, well, James, what do you do? And I said, I do pretty much what I want to do and very little else. And that's pretty much it. I found out about Brandon on backstage.
Yeah.
Backstage, and I get the emails, 5, 10 emails a day. I go through them, and every place there's a opportunity to do a voiceover. I stick in my application. I call them applications, my resume, and audition forms.
Yeah.
So,
Wilson, how'd you land the job that you said there were many performances? Do you have an agent, or did you answer an ad in a newspaper or something? How'd you find that job?
Oh, you're talking about my regular professional jobs over the years, the old-fashioned way. Looking through the newspaper, word about, sending a resume in the mail, trying to catch an interview at a trade show. And once you start to build a little bit of a customer base, when I first started selling long distance, I was kind of like a long distance whore.
Why you say that?
Because you sell for this company for a year or so, and customers, they buy from the salesperson, but their loyalty is typically to the company. But you always have 4 or 5 customers that you can take with you.
Yeah.
And if I can go to a new job and get a little bit better commission base and take 4 or 5 customers with me in the first month.
Like Rosie.
Sorry, Grandpa's got a bird on his shoulder who's.
Yeah, I was afraid that she would bite me and
Grandpa,
put her in the cage.
I've been thinking about you and this bird. And, I've got some family members that are very serious animal lovers. Over the years, I've come to believe that the true animal lovers, they kind of turn their nose up a little bit at all of us that were non-animal lovers.
Well, do you need some birds? I mean,
That's funny.
I have 4 of them, and they're available.
We had a bird growing up when I was a kid in Toledo, and Penny, I released Penny for Christmas. Penny was a parakeet.
How long? Yeah, where'd you release them to? Yeah.
Outdoors.
Oh no.
I'm glad it was thankful.
Yeah, right.
For about 2 hours, and they got hungry and was like, "Where my food at?"
Yeah.
Probably want a cracker or something, right?
Saw a hawk in the air, like.
But you have to have true affection for an animal to let that animal pick your teeth and then bite your lip.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the bird's cute, but this one's really aggressive towards grandpa.
Rosie is just misunderstood. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
Where'd you,
just put her in a
where'd you
cage.
get this animal from?
I have 4 birds, and she's the only one that won't get along with the other 3. They'll fight to the death. So I have to keep her in a separate room. Does anybody need a bird? She's available.
Oh my gosh.
No, no takers.
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm
What,
okay.
what does a bird like? What does a bird eat?
What is it? Did you say eat?
Yes.
Grandpa's lip.
Well, we get a mix that comes from a
Yeah.
pet store and also apple, all types of nuts, almonds, pecans, chestnuts, walnuts,
Seeds.
just about every kind of nut, actually. And then once in a while some vegetables. The other birds will eat regular food. They like to share, with potato and meat and vegetables and everything. So they like
So none of them are carnivores.
they
Omnivores.
aren't naturally, I don't think, but they seem like to eat anything.
Maybe
So,
that's why she's aggressive. She's got a taste for flesh. And she just...
I'll eat anything.
Well, it sounds like you've had an interesting life, Wilson, and you're still interested in performing and on in the entertainment field.
Yes, I've been so. Life has been very kind to me and my family, and it's just a blessing.
Yeah.
And you forget about the parts. You focus the memories on the good stuff, and just you forgot about the things that were unpleasant.
Would you want your children to try to pursue a career in the entertainment field?
Well, my daughter already is,
Yeah, you did mention that. Yes.
and in fact, she hosted a podcast Monday or Tuesday this week, and she put on a really good show. We were real proud of her.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
And she's Jasmine's almost 30 years old, so years gone by. Jared, our son, he's a performer of sorts. Yeah, him and Cynthia, moms, they're both starting these PhD programs. Well, they've already started.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I got a question, Wilson. Did you enjoy the sales path enough where, like, if you were to go back, you would do that over maybe trying to get into the theater full time or something?
Well, when I was doing it, I absolutely loved it.
That's great.
Got promoted, over and over the years, and ended up being, manager level. But that had never been my real plan. Now, no way that I could do it again. I don't have the heart or the energy to make the calls.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I don't want to see 4 people, 5 people a day.
Yeah.
That's too many.
Yeah.
Me neither.
But you loved it. You loved it enough where it was as if you were pursuing a dream as you were doing
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Back in the day, Jesus, we were getting company cars.
Yeah.
Expenses. It was a wonderful thing. And if you could make
Yeah.
quota,
Yeah.
now if you couldn't make quota, you'd be getting sent home.
Uh-oh.
Sure.
If you
sure.
made it, racks on racks.
I
That's
think
what
I think
I tell the kids.
yeah.
If you take the money, you got to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sales is a lot of commission, right? So it's unstable in the same way that maybe entertainment is, where it's a lot of ups and downs, and you really got to fight for your own bread, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every weekend is a holiday. Every paycheck is a fortune.
Yeah. But you wouldn't do it if you went back a second time.
No, couldn't do it.
What would you do?
You mean if I was to go? I'm not sure I understand the question.
Let's say we're transported back to right after you did that show when you were 19 or 20. What would you do?
Or what would you do differently?
I've thought about this more than once, and I used to do this radio show when I was 18, 19 years old at University of Evansville. And whenever somebody came to town, entertainers came to town, I usually had a handful of tickets and a chance to promote the show on the radio, that sort of thing. And I met this guy, it was a piano player named Ramsey Lewis. And I don't know if he was blowing smoke up my ass or if he was sincere, but he was giving me, James, there's a possibility that you could come to New York and do a show there. And I'm from Toledo, man. I wasn't going from Toledo to New York when I was 19. I was certainly not ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought about that over the years. And, I went the path that I was supposed to go.
Sure.
And, that was the business route.
Yeah.
I started
Well, I
off as
guess
an engineering major. They had to study too hard.
I imagine with a family, it's especially important to have, security to be able to help your wife and children and, your whole family. To have that financial security is a lot. I knew a fellow who was an excellent actor. I worked in a dinner theater for a few years, and he worked at, he did some of the plays there, and it was terrific. He was in some of Burt Reynolds' movies, and he then went on into selling real estate. So I guess, even though he had this terrific talent, so I guess that having the financial security is a lot in life,
And there's lots of things influence you when you're coming of age. When I was in undergraduate school, I was a business major, and I called home and told my parents that I want to switch to performing arts because I'm going to be an actor, and I'm pretty sure that I'm not pretty sure. I know absolutely certain that there had been no more tuition coming from my dad. That wasn't working. You go into school, you get out of school, you're gonna get a real job, and you believe that to be true.
Yeah.
And to me, it was. He didn't pay for C's. he wasn't paying for performing arts.
I guess if you're a good actor, that's really a big plus for sales.
I want to be good, but I don't know that I am all that good. I just know that I'm passionate, and if I get a chance to have a role, I'll consume it.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a couple of roles go sour on me here in the past couple of years.
Yeah, I've talked about this with Phines before. He might disagree with me, but I really feel like passion is good. Like, talent is just basically, in my opinion, passion, and then dedication and time and inspirate, like all that stuff. So
You want to be. I want to be. I want to be believable. I used to work with
yeah,
this guy, Paul Jordan. Paul's gone now, and he was the superior salesperson at MCI Communications. You guys may not remember them anymore. They're dead and gone. But they're the ones that opened up long distance in the United States.
Mm.
And my first sales meeting with Paul there, they rolled out this chest with like $5,000 in silver dollars.
Wow.
Making it a big whoop to do. It was the same year that the Bears won the Super Bowl because the meeting was in Chicago. And I talk to him all the time. We both worked in the Indianapolis office. First rule of sales, James, is be yourself, because people can smell a lie on your breath. And I believe that when you're trying to offer a product to someone that they're going to pay for.
it's easier said than done, though, right? It's actually, in my experience, really hard to be real. It's very difficult.
You have to be
Not hard to
convincing.
be honest. And convincing at the same time.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of talking here, guys. I hope you. It looks like I've sucked up the whole 30 minutes.
Well, you know what, Wilson, you always have some really nice like you have like a lot of like quotes. Like you got like some nice wisdom quotes. Like
Yes.
they can smell a lie on your breath. Like that's I like those. You always have some. You always have some nice like. Oh, what do they call those? Like a nice like proverb when you come on.
Yeah.
So I like
Sage
that.
wisdom.
Very insightful.
We do have Jemiah on the line. I want to say hi, Jemiah. Are you here?
Yes, Jamia.
Jamia, thank you so much.
Yes.
Wilson, thank
I'm
you
going
so
to
much for
sign
being
off.
on. I don't know
I'm
what
going to leave you with one thought.
I don't know what email you got. I don't know which email account I used to send you the Zoom link, Wilson, but I did send it. So if you want to join, you can. And we're all just muted on Zoom, listening here on Clean Feed still. So, but thank you so much.
I'm going to leave you with this, and this is my favorite.
Okay.
Yesterday is gone, and I'm not.
That's what I'm talking about. Like I love the
Yeah.
I'm gonna
We
keep
can,
thinking about that. I needed that. Thank you so
Thank you
much,
so much for
Wilson.
allowing me to be a part of this. Success to us all.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Wilson.
Keep
Bye-bye.
We're gonna
grinding.
make
We'll
a
see ya.
poster. We'll make a poster of all your quotes pretty soon.
All right, Jamia, hello. How are you?
Hey, I'm fine. What about yourself?
We're doing okay.
Okay.
We're talking about following our
I'm good.
dreams and
I'm
facing
heading
reality.
from Atlanta. Okay, good topic. I'm ready.
All
What's
right.
your question? What's the first question you have?
My question, Jamia, is what is your dream and are you pursuing it? That's two questions. I cheated. Sorry.
Oh, okay. A dreamer until maybe last year. Um, Now I am because I realize that it's a talent that God gave to me. And at first, like a licensed practical nurse. I've never been in theater or anything, but um, when I was younger, I had this unction to write, and I never I wanted to do it, but I never had a diary to write or whatever. But when I remember in the fifth grade when my teacher we had to write an essay, and I started off with a few big words, and she shot me down like, hey, there's a much simpler way that you can say this. And I thought like, huh, you know so I think my dreams were killed early on.
Mm-hmm.
But after being in the medical field, I've been in the medical field since I was 18 years old. I was a certified nursing assistant for 12 months, and then I went on back for licensed practical nursing in 2014. I've been an LPN for 5 years, but it's getting tiresome and I'm getting burned out. I
Mm-hmm.
love people. I love to care for people, like the elderly, anyone I can. Like, if I can put a smile on your face, I'm good. You've made my day, versus you telling me, I've made your day. Uh, so does that answer your question? I feel like I have so much more to say behind that, though.
Yeah. So I didn't quite hear, but like, what exactly is your dream?
Now, like, I want to, like, let me just say this: I'm about to publish my first book.
Hooray!
Um,
Hooray!
it's
Wonderful.
titled
Congrats.
"Side Chick Savior," and it's not about being a side chick. It was just like, in life we go through generational things. People like to call them curses, or the Bible, so I say. Um, and just and realizing the core issue, the hurt and everything, and knowing that you can't run forever from God.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's what I'm getting back to. And if I can whoever I can help, like talking, like I love to talk. when I was going through for my nurse's aid, my instructor told me, "You're so good with the people, Jamia. Why won't you go and be a social worker?" And it didn't dawn on me then. So, my mom, first thing she said to me, "You gonna let her determine your future, or
Mm-hmm.
you gonna accept that and be a failure?" So I was like, no. And from that point on, I was just determined to become a nurse, and that was it. But yeah, like if
Mm,
I can have a talk show or something, like I would love it, because like I want
mm.
to inspire people. I want to do what God called me to do. I want to fulfill my purpose in this life.
Jamia, did you get a lot of writing done during this whole pandemic and everything going on?
Yes, I did. A
Yeah.
lot of
Do you
a
have
lot of writing.
any advice or tips to just like for people, including myself, who just wants to get something done, and it just feels like within myself there's like all of these roadblocks, and like people that are like, oh my gosh, I just finished a book, like it's very inspiring, and I'm always curious how they got there.
You know what? Honestly, you know Drake has this line to say things. Well, he cursed. He said shit ain't always seems when it's sewed together, like
Mm-hmm.
sewed with your clothes, the stitching and
Yeah.
SO together. It comes in bits and pieces, and when you're writing and you're being transparent, it's gonna take a huge chunk out of you, and you're gonna have to press forward. And the only way that you're gonna get through it is with God, because you're looking to him and you're listening to your inner spirit, and he's going to tell you everything to write down. And just remember that it's not
Mm,
for you, but it's for his glory, to save people.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
So
are you presently working in nursing?
uh, oh no, let me tell you about that. I got up and moved to Atlanta in October of 2019 because I was instructed to do so. And I worked for DaVita Dialysis,
Mm-hmm.
and shortly, right before the pandemic started, God was telling me that, hey, you need to go back home. I wasn't listening, and things started happening to me. Like I was driving, I thought my license were valid, but when he ran them and he ran my plate, they were suspended. I went to jail for the first time,
Oh no.
Oh
and
man.
I stayed in there for 9 hours. But my mom being in Mississippi and a good friend of mine, they got me out in those 9 hours. And after that, I went back home, and I was risking it going back to work, not knowing. He kept telling me, "No, you need to go home, go back to Mississippi, go home." And I'm thinking, like, no, you sent me to Atlanta. I want to know what's my purpose. I'm not. I wasn't brought here to fail. Like, I'm doing it. Like, what am I doing wrong? And I didn't understand that my time was up. So one morning I got up to go out to my car, and it was repossessed,
Oh.
and I had
Oh wow.
I missed one payment on that car in a year. I got it from a buy here pay here lot in Texas. Now, they had a tracker on it, and they came and took my car, and then they were telling me, "Hey, okay, in order to get this back, you're gonna have to pay basically $1,000." That was for them coming to pick it up, the towing, plus two car notes. And I knew I couldn't do it. I was like, you know what? I can't do it. I called my mama. I said, hey, uh, she was getting ready to come and visit that second week of March, and I was like, I'm going back home with you. She was like, I already knew it. And she told her client that she was working for. She had already told her before I even told her that she was coming to pick me up. So I just say God, and not knowing that a pandemic was about to happen, and he was urging me to leave Atlanta before it even started.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer your question, no, I have not worked since then.
So are you still in Atlanta?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm back in
Back in
Mississippi.
Mississippi?
hmm
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had to go to Atlanta today for court. Finally.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's wild.
it is
How'd that
wild.
work out?
Yes. Oh, perfectly in my favor.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
well, that's good.
Hey.
That's good.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Well, it's tough. It's tough for a lot of people right now. Things with this situation with the pandemic, it's very tough for a lot of people. Are having a tough time in life, struggling.
But you know
Yeah,
what? I haven't missed a beat since this pandemic started. Have not.
I
Haven't.
believe.
God has provided for me. And for that I'm grateful.
Well, that's good.
That's
As long as you,
inspiring too. Yeah. Just I feel like uh I've been hard on myself not getting things done creatively during this time, and like people that are getting stuff done, it's like very like inspiring, like that it's possible even though it's like a very difficult time.
But if you just be still and like take it completely out of your control, like when you just let it go completely, he'll do it for you. You won't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I was once like that, feeling like I was stuck, not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
so are
But
you going to go back into nursing, or what are your plans?
I, wherever he takes me,
Yeah.
I'm not going back to nursing. Look, I'm not. And
You
you know
mentioned
what? I want to elaborate on that. When I knew that nursing wasn't really my dream, like it's like the passion for it just really fell off.
Mm-hmm.
Not for people, but the field and knowing how the business runs,
Yeah.
how a lot of things are operated, and a lot of it I don't agree with.
That's funny you say that because truthfully speaking, that was some of the reasons why I was a nurse assistant for 7 years and worked at the hospital for a long time. But and I same stuff you were saying sounds very familiar. Like I love helping people. It's a big deal to me. It makes me genuinely happy. Um, but I was like taking patient advocacy classes and taking all these things about how to treat people right and stuff like that. But it was just something wrong with this the whole system. Like it was. I can't put it into words, but I get what you're saying. Like there was something like wrong was still going on.
Yeah,
Uh,
right. The
yeah,
way if
yeah,
anything bad go on, you can say whatever you want to say, even if it's not the truth, and
yep,
that's gonna
yeah,
stick.
yep,
So
yep, yeah. I remember I was a sitter. I did a lot of sitting for patients, just like who were going through whatever they're going through, night timers or whatever their issue was for somebody need a sitter for, and it was really eye opening just seeing how everybody spoke for the patient that was need to be sitter like to be a sitter for like the patient wasn't like an individual. And I always thought that was kind of sketchy in itself, like telling them how they feel. And I don't know. I get you. I definitely understand. Feeling. I bet it's like I feel how it feels to be a cop or a good cop. Like like you see good, you want to do good, but then there's so much bad stuff going on. Like the whole system kind of rickety that you kind of like you can't stick with it. Uh, I don't know if you. Yeah. Did I say something? No. But is she still there?
She dipped out, but she's coming back in. Hold on.
what is that?
Hey. Okay.
I'm
I'm
sorry, I was going through a bad area.
Oh, that's okay. We are just about out of time. We've got another caller coming in, Jamia, but thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And best of luck.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good luck.
Keep
Thank you so
grinding.
much for coming
Keep
on.
Yeah.
grinding.
Stay up.
I will.
All right, we've got some kind of other Brandon. Hello.
The Brandon that was
Hello.
the Brandon before. Hey
Hello.
Brandon.
Hi. How are you guys?
Yeah.
Doing
Good. Good.
swell.
How about yourself, Brandon?
I'm doing just fine.
I remember this voice. I know this Brandon.
I know that voice. Yeah.
This is this is the fire Boy Scout glazed over eyes. His
Yeah,
friend
that's
was
me.
yeah. That's Brandon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I remember that. So we're talking about
Brandon.
dreams.
Yeah.
I mean, so I guess I'm a little bit similar to a lot of the everyone else that's been on here. I mean, I'm also in the entertainment field here. Like I'm also an author, like the previous guest. I actually have published my first book, and I'm in the process of writing the next one.
What's your first book called?
It's called The Royal
Wow.
Rescue.
Go ahead and give us a
Mm.
plug. Come on, free advertisement.
It's called The Royal Rescue, Royal Adventures, book one. It's just about this coming of age fantasy story. Basically, what I always tell people is like to get the basic gist of like what it's about. You know that old Nickelodeon show Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you take that and you combine it with Lord of the Rings, and
Oh.
you got the basic gist of like it's completely different, but that's just the basic setup. Because I just took inspirations from like my childhood stories, and I just wrote a book based on that one, and
Wow.
that's been out for a little over a year.
How you feel about that?
How does that feel putting it into the world, like having your baby public?
I mean, I kind of rushed it out because of like other people people said like, oh nope, you're not gonna make it, like whatever, it's hard. And so like when I moved back with my mom, I was like, I'm just gonna go out and put this out. And so I guess you're your own worst critic said sometimes. So I'm really proud of the book, but I was just like, I wish I had done some things differently. And so because I was,
Mm.
and then I was also starting stand up comedy as well, and so I was like, I'm just gonna get this out, and so I can like get that and focus on my other things.
How long did it
Yeah.
take you
Have
to,
you?
from start to
Yeah.
finish, until you published the book?
Well, I mean, like I said, like after people like said I wouldn't make it, it did get like put on a shelf and sometimes. So I get the entire process from start to finish was like 4 years. But that actually was a lot. There was like almost 2 of those years where like just me. It's just sitting on a shelf, like it's never gonna happen. It was just a pipe dream, whatever. And
Hmm.
then I actually like
Wow.
started finishing it, and that's what, like after August of 2018 when I moved back down to Southern Missouri with my mom. Went and finished that book and got it out in May of 2019, and that's when I started doing stand up comedy and everything that I wanted to do. And so that's when everything I pushed, like I was. Everyone's because my mom was supportive. She's like, if you want that, go ahead and do it. And so I was like, I actually finished the book and got it out, and that felt great actually getting it out there. And it's gotten everyone who's like reviewed it has loved it. I haven't had anyone's like meh. Not so many people have read it, but a lot of my close friends and family and everyone's loved it.
Hmm.
Congrats, man. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
wonderful.
Were there ever times where you almost gave up? Like what was the closest that you came to be like putting shelving it forever? And then how does it feel now?
I mean, back when I first started, so I did thought I shelved it forever. I was like, you know what, they're right. Like it's a pipe dream. The entertainment industry is so hard to get into and stay in. I'm like, and it still is. And so back then I thought, if you asked me back then, I was like, yeah, it's done forever and everything. And it wasn't until I moved back with my mom and that she was like, I mentioned the book. She's like, you know what, you should finish it. And that's when I actually did take it off the shelf.
Yes, sir.
So
Yeah.
I guess to answer your question, it did get shelved forever. And then I actually took it off of basically when I actually got some support.
Yeah. That outside influence I feel like is so important. Like one offhand
Yeah.
comment that someone doesn't know they're making is like, "Oh, that there goes a
Yeah.
novel."
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was with the people I was living with at the time. I was raised by my grandparents, and it was them who said like, "Nope, you're never gonna make it." I mean, I guess if it was just someone else like out in the public, I would have been like, "Yeah, whatever." But with that, someone who like I had held in such close regard, and they
Yeah.
said I couldn't. That's probably what really hit. And then it took my mom to actually be like, "Okay, yeah, go out and do it," and it's been just nothing but good so far.
Yeah. I agree. It takes that one
So you
person.
you think you're going to
Mhm.
be pursuing these creative endeavors
Oh
the
yeah,
rest of your
that's
life?
the plan. I mean, not much is happening with a pandemic here. I mean, I was doing stand-up comedy pretty regularly until everything closed down. And I was like, and I guess I wasn't too upset about it. I get it. I mean, it's a public health crisis. Everything's got to take a back seat. It
Mhm.
has allowed me to go focus more back on the writing things
Hmm.
because after I published my first book, I took a break for that, and because that's when I really started working on my craft as a stand-up comedian. And then I did that and then until the start of this pandemic, and then that after the place I was doing it closed down for a while. I was like, okay, this is a blessing in disguise. I'm going to go back and work on the next book, and so that's what I've been doing.
Nice.
And what is the title for your next book, or the subject matter?
I mean, it's a sequel to the first one. It's a series. The title's working, but where I'm thinking right now is going to be called the Phoenix Assault. It's like
Nice.
as a continuation of it. So
Sorry,
I mean,
Phines, I cut you off before. What were you saying?
I don't know. Not quite sure.
I do that all the time. I'm just like forget what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think it's but no, hey, yeah, writing is a thing. I want to I want to write, I want to be an artist of some sort. Well, I guess I am. You do what you are every day. Is that what it is? You do what you
Yeah,
do. What's the Aristotle quote?
Sounds
Yeah, you
right.
are what you do every day. So if
and
I do that every day, then I am that, I
see,
suppose.
that's basically what I do because, like, even though I say, basically, the going says like I'm an amateur comic, I don't make money doing stand-up comedy, but since I do still perform, I'm still a stand-up comedian.
Yeah,
It's you are what you do, and
I
it's
do
that
believe that. Yeah.
mentality.
Yeah. That's kind of what changed it for me. I was like, well, if I do it all the time, then I am that. No matter if someone can say, you don't have to. It doesn't really matter. I mean, I guess it kind of matters if you're good or not, but um, and not really. So if you do it every day, then you don't have to be the best. You don't really have to put that even title on it because art's so subjective that, but you can still say that you are something that if you like say if you write every day, then you're a writer. I don't see who could tell you otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. And so you're absolutely right. Art is subjective. I see it all the time. Because for a while, when I was like actually hosting comedy shows, I would see people going and they might have like a bad night or whatever. I'm like, okay, so this was like this one crowd. Don't get discouraged. Keep at it. No, I was like, I don't think any of the famous comics, none of them were good at the beginning. I
Yeah,
think the only notable exception was possibly Dave Chappelle, but he's
Yeah.
in a world of his own. He was like the one off.
yeah.
Like again, because especially me myself, when I first started, I was terrible. So I was like, I don't. It comes with practice. You got to work at it and everything.
And
I also think he was like watching people in clubs for 2 years as a kid
yeah.
before he ever went up.
Yeah,
And I think what I like about artistry now and this generation is that you can find whoever finds your work subjectively good, even if it's like you struggling in the very beginning. There's some kid out there that's like needs to hear your joke and your perspective or
hmm
read your book. And I think the internet makes it really not easy because you still have to go find your audience and still have to find yourself as an artist. But I
yeah.
think it's just so much more open than what it used to be. It used to be you just have to be lucky enough to be on the platform, but now you can make the platform. Um, so
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was like the first advice, like from the other comics I work with. They were like, "All right, find who you are and find your target audience, and then once you got them down, then you can expand outwards into maybe other people who probably wouldn't be your target audience, but then you can expand out there. But once you got that one core of your core fan base, as you
Yeah.
so to speak, then you can speak. Because if you don't have that, then you're just gonna crash and burn."
Yeah, it's like the whole grunge thing.
Mhm.
You find your niche group until that you become popular, and then everyone hates you. I would love to get to that point. I can't wait.
Right.
Yeah.
Yo, you mind uh giving us your stand up opener? A little self promotion.
I mean, stand up over depends on the and I basically what I always do is if I'm hosting, because I always like play the thing that I'm laid back and everything a little bit. Like I'm not gonna like make you get all pumped up. I'm just gonna tell you the jokes. So basically, like there's hosts that go up and they're like, oh, like put your hands in the air and everything. I'm like, don't worry about that. I'm not gonna make you do that. I'm not a cop and we're not at a Macklemore concert.
Mhm.
And that's always done well, and that's my opener. And then so I have a whole bit of like about the Macklemore, And so I guess a lot of it it depends, because it basically depends on the night, because I usually prepare a set, and each time's like you got to put in the work for that. And so, but yeah, my bit about the Macklemore, that's usually like just like breaks the ice, and then I can go into the rest of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
We've got another person on the line, but thank you so much, Brandon, for coming and talking to us.
You are very welcome.
Best of luck. I hope you can get back onto the comedy scene real soon. Maybe you can do some Instagram reels or something in the meantime and still keep
Yeah, I
having
have
fun.
considered doing a lot of things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to watch you on a TikTok.
Yeah, there you go, TikTok. Before TikTok gets banned, just like
Yeah.
snatch some fans and be like, now we're going this way.
Yeah.
All right.
See you.
Best of luck. Have a great day, man.
You too as well. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks a lot.
We've got wonderful Asher here. Hello.
Hi, how are you guys doing today?
Swell.
Good. How you doing, Asher?
Fantastic.
Yeah, how you
Doing
doing?
fantastic. Thank you for letting me be here.
Thanks for coming.
Oh, thanks for coming, man.
Absolutely.
Sounds like you got a nice mic.
I try. I do some voiceover work, so I'm using a mic for this right now.
Yeah, I see. You here.
We love it.
Wow.
We're very happy with it.
Yeah, I don't like hearing my own voice, but I like other people hearing a clean voice.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
We haven't met before. Could you describe yourself in like 7 words or less?
7 words or less. Ah, all right. Limit me. No, I'm kidding. I'm 24. I live in Pennsylvania. I'm outgoing. I love the outdoors. I studied acting in Canada for TV and film. I was in Japan for a homestay, and I just started my own company as an RV inspector.
Wow.
Nice.
Yo, you failed. That was like 9
Yeah,
words.
I was like, I thought he was
You know what? I took a few extra.
I knew he was gonna say anything about math. I was like, oh, he can't be in the math because he
This is why I'm an actor.
Yeah.
I chose acting for a reason. Let me tell you.
Well, how's it been? How's it been going for you? As good as your math?
Yeah, right now things are a little bit slow just with the pandemic going on right now. I was actually supposed to be moving to LA back in April. Had an apartment, everything was set to go, and then about a week before I started noticing things closed down, and I'm like, all right, this is my dream, but maybe I need to kind of face reality of what's going on, and I canceled everything. And thankfully it was actually a blessing in disguise, because my father suggested to me and my brothers, like, hey, do you want to start a company? And he brought up RVs and RV inspections, and that's actually taken off even more so with the pandemic happening, because people are buying more and more RVs to go out and camp.
Yeah.
So blessing in disguise.
Where are you at? Right now?
I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said that. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
I love you threw the episode title in there so smoothly. It was really nice.
I try.
Reality. Yeah.
I do my research.
I wonder, like, what. So this was you had a deposit down on the apartment, or?
So the way I was going about it, because I've only been to the West Coast once besides living in Vancouver, Canada for college, and I wasn't sure about the areas where I wanted to go, so I decided I was going to do an Airbnb a few places. That way I don't have to worry about furniture. Somebody already knows the location and the area. And thankfully, through Airbnb, they actually, I think, for the pandemic, to say, hey, if you schedule between this time and this time, you can get all your money back for free, and
that is
you won't
so
lose anything.
lucky. So
yeah,
I signed a year lease right before all this stuff went down.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's crazy times. But
it's difficult.
No, that's great though. And what's the dream? Where do you want to be?
To live comfortably and happily with a career I enjoy, which right now is acting for TV and film and doing voiceover work. That's the dream.
Amazing.
Do you have a preference for the West Coast relative to, say, New York for that type of a career?
So I've done a good bit of research, and my manager and agent have talked to me a little bit as well. New York is good for voiceover work and modeling. Atlanta, Georgia is good for a lot of extra work and TV work. LA focuses on TV and film for leads, supporting leads, and voiceover work. So that's why I chose LA over the other two. Um, I have thought about going up to New York, but I'm really not a fan of cities or the cold.
Do you
Yeah.
think it's because there's so many aspiring actors in LA? Do you think that that makes it more difficult, or because there's more work there, not so?
I absolutely think it's more difficult. Everybody wants to be famous, and that's Johnny Depp, Mark Wahlberg, or whoever you look up to as a celebrity. My reason of deciding to finally move to LA is for all the actors I've ever talked to, they always say, don't go to LA unless you're invited. And I did a competition in LA and I got a manager, and they said, hey, if you want to come to LA, we can represent you there. And that was my
Wow.
decision. That was my invitation.
That's
Okay.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
What
Yeah,
but
you
is
sound like a very outgoing guy.
I try to be. I could definitely say I like to sit in my apartment alone with my cat for days on end, not talking to anybody. But I do enjoy going out with friends, meeting people. One of the reasons why I wanted to do acting is I love making people happy. My name Asher actually means happy, so I try to live by that and spread joy and happiness to wherever I can, bring a smile to people's faces.
Have you
I
been
like
in
that.
any movies or stage shows or whatever that we would know the names of?
Sadly, not so yet. I have done a few audio work for a company here in Pittsburgh. I did do one TV show for Amazon Prime. I'm
Ooh.
not going to name it because I really don't want people to watch
Oh,
it. It was not good, and yeah, it's one of those shows where whenever you're on a talk show host and you're big celebrities, then they bring this up. It's like, yeah, I did that.
Well, it
Oh,
sounds like you've got a good gig right now with this inspection job. So if you were offered a good acting job, would you give up the inspector uh, job that you have, the inspector business?
So I actually don't need to. In fact, the nice thing about my company with my family is I can work anywhere in the United States. I can expect any RV in any states.
mm,
So
interesting.
if I had a part in LA, Atlanta, New York, I could travel there, do that part. Whenever it's done, I can then go right into inspections into wherever I actually located for that part.
oh,
So
nice.
do you ever scare the owners and say this is the worst RV I've ever looked at?
That's hilarious.
Um, I sadly can't do it. Basically, what we do is we go do kind of like a house inspection. We list that's just a little bit more in depth. I'll be getting on the roof. I'll be crawling under it, testing your hot water, doing a propane leak test, doing a little bit of everything. And essentially, what we do is we list just the facts. There's no opinions. Does it work? Yes. Does not work? No. We don't tell you the reason why it doesn't. We just state it doesn't. Because I'll tell you right now, I've looked at 2020 brand new, never lived in, never moved RVs, and there's something wrong with them.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what are you? So what happens if a lot of stuff is like I got an RV, and you say a lot of stuff is wrong with this? What then?
So what then depends if you're buying it from, say, a dealership or a private seller. If it's a private seller, it's in a price negotiation. You're like, hey, you either have to fix this or we're taking it down a few $1,000s. Or you say, hey, I spent 3% on an inspection to see if this would be a good RV for me, like I would if I hired a mechanic for a car. I
Hmm.
don't want it. There's too many things wrong. I back out. If it's a
Okay.
dealership, same thing. It's kind of like, hey, guys, like this is a new RV. This shouldn't be broken. They'll be like, all right, you know what? We'll fix it. And then that way you know exactly what you're getting.
Okay. So dealerships sometimes don't like you coming around.
Oh, they hate us.
Yeah.
Because they do something called a PDI, which is a pre-delivery inspection. I guarantee you, if you go to any RV dealership and you ask a copy of their PDI, their jaw will drop in the fact that you know what that is, and they probably won't have it.
I'm gonna write this down.
Dealerships don't like us because we find things that they say is fine. I did one inspection on a 2001 Coachman Class B. And they're like, oh yeah, we have mechanics here. We looked at everything and it's all great. I found water damage. I found a 2-foot mouse nest. Toilet didn't work. Batteries were dead. Yeah.
So how do these dealerships keep you from coming over there and ruining their business? They put a fence up?
I say enhancing the business. That way they know what they're selling.
You're right. That's
But
true. That's true.
it's up to our client. They contact us if they want inspection. Then they say to either the private seller or the dealership, "Hey, I want a third-party inspection done on this
Oh.
RV." And if
So
they
are
agree
you
to it,
hired by the customer, or is
yes,
the purchaser of the RV?
yes,
be
we
the
are
one
hired from the
hire you?
purchaser.
I see.
Yeah, the purchaser contacts us. We don't contact anybody. We simply offer our services through our website and through word of mouth. And we suggest it because, as I said, I found 2020 RVs with a sink not connected, a propane leak. And I've also looked at 20, 30-year-old RVs, and they are spick and span, and they're great.
Wow. You have competition?
It's this whole. It's a world I've never even thought of, but I feel like it would make a really good movie. Like the
Yeah. Now,
conflict
yeah.
going
I mean, that's what I'm
on,
thinking
like,
about. That I'm thinking like competition and like people like just trying to undercut each other to
yeah.
really
Well,
see who checks
Seems like
their
such
RV
a
the best.
savage world. Like,
Well, to answer both of those. One, there's definitely competition. Thankfully, the company I got certified through NRVIA, they've been very kind, and we are located kind of all over the United States. Texas and Florida, there's a lot of competition there because there's just so many people located there. I think there's like
Hmm.
20,000 transactions in Florida
Oh
every
wow.
year just for RVs.
So
So, yeah.
when you inspect an RV, do you have the technical knowledge to know whether, for instance, the engine and transmission are in good shape?
So, for the transmission and engine, for the engine itself, we do turn on the engine, make sure it's running, it's idling correctly, do a visual inspection, and then we can actually pull fluids. We can pull your oil, transmission, coolant. We can do that from your engine and your generator, and we can send that into a lab and actually get sent back what's going on within those coolant, your oil, and all those kind of liquids of your engine to see what's actually going on inside the engine itself.
So you really do a full inspection.
Depending on what package are, yes, I'd say our premium package can take me anywhere from 8 to about 11 hours for a single RV.
Oh wow.
What kind? I don't know if this is a proper question, but what kind of fee do you charge to do an inspection on an RV? I guess it depends on the size of the RV and so
Depends
forth.
on it depends on the size, the brand, and the distance, depending on if you want to pay for us to travel a little bit further. But it can range anywhere from about low end of 1,000 to 1,500 for just the base premium package. If you add fluids,
And,
it could be anywhere from like 2,000.
and if you were going to buy an RV yourself, is there any particular brand that you would be more inclined to purchase?
That's a very difficult question to answer. The reason why I say that is each RV is unique in themselves, and it's very much of a personal opinion on what do you want it for, what do you use it for. I know a lot of people like the big fifth wheels, 3 slide outs. You have a kitchen, 2 bathrooms, 7 TVs, and that's what they're looking for because they have kids, they have family. For me, I'm a single guy with a cat, and I'm actually planning to buy an RV and live in it full time, and I like to live a very simplistic lifestyle. So I thoroughly enjoy anything that does not have a slide out system, and that's one reason I like Airstream a lot.
What kind of system did you just mention?
They're called slide outs. Essentially, what they are is it makes the RV wider. So whenever you're driving down the road, it's thin enough to be between the lines. But when you park
Okay.
it has a rail system or hydraulic system, and you hold a button and it slides out the wall. So instead of having a small area, it actually extends the walls out. So you have a whole living room or a kitchen that actually moves out and gives you space.
Well, you'd be a good guy to get in touch with if I ever decide to buy an RV. It's kind of doubtful, but maybe you can let us know how to contact you in the event that any one of us ever would want to buy one.
Absolutely. You can
Yeah, I
find
could
me
see
and my
myself. I
family.
could see myself doing that.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I
where can we find
appreciate
your
we're
family
always.
and you?
Our company name is AtlasRVinspections.com.
Atlas
Atlas
RV
RV
Inspections.
Inspections.com. Yes.
Now, did I understand? Is this your company or you're working for a company?
This is my father started it. He's the head of our company, and then it's me and my brother. So I do own a part of this company.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I thought you said. Yeah, in the beginning,
Yes.
because it sounds like it's a fairly sizable company. Yeah.
hmm It's we're very passionate. We're excited to get it going. It's funny how it all started. We've done nothing with RVs, but my parents got separated a couple years back. Dad sold the house, bought an RV, and went to Alaska, and that's how it started.
Wow.
Yeah.
But we love it. It's a great thing to do. I love helping people. So
Maybe you can change my whole grandpa's life. Go on a wild adventure.
Put me in an RV, huh? Well,
You'd
I
be
thought maybe for my recording equipment, to make it mobile, but
that's what I'm actually doing. I will be building a audio room in my RV when I purchase it to do voiceovers. So it's definitely something you can do. And traveling, my father is 67 now, and he's doing it full time.
That's wild.
What, voiceover work?
No, just traveling, doing the RV life.
Okay, yeah.
I'm the only actor one out of my family.
How does the family feel, like your dad, on you being a part of this business, but also like wanting to pursue all the acting dreams and all that stuff?
I'm very, very lucky. My parents are both incredibly supportive of my acting career. I've been trying to do it for the past couple of years. And I can tell you a lot of families, again, to say, hey, it's too hard to get into, become a doctor, become a lawyer, make money faster. It's a secure job. But they're like, if that's your dream and you want to go do that because you'll regret it for the rest of your life if you went, what if I did that? So, and then my dad was awesome enough to say, hey, do this company on the side until you get work acting and you can make money both ways. So I'm like, cool.
Is your family looking to adopt?
I mean, it sounds great, but let me tell you, siblings will be siblings. I'll say that much. We love each other, but my brother's West Coast, my mother's East Coast, my dad's in the middle, and then my sister's over here as well. And then I'm all over the place. So we've scattered.
Yeah.
That means your parents want someone to feed. Brandon?
It sounds super cool. Like it's working out so well. Like even with this, I was like, oh man, doing this business thing with my grandpa. Like I hope I don't hate him. And now here we are. So
I had that conversation with my own dad, to be completely honest. But this is cool. When I saw this listed, I'm like, this is such a cool idea. I want to be a part of this.
Thank you. Yeah, now I'm just seething with hatred, but
I can hear it.
It's still got to work together,
Oh, yeah.
That's great that it's working out, though, man. That's super cool.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Grandpa, you wanted to be a singer, right?
Correct. Yes.
Oh, can I hear a few bars?
Yeah, every episode.
Not now.
But,
yeah.
How was like great grandma Ruth? Like, how was your family? Were they supportive of all of that? Or?
Well, this was they weren't all that aware of it. I don't think, because I was always in business pretty much throughout my adult life. Yeah.
You'd sneak out at night and say.
I had the pretzel ice cream cone and the pretzel wheel, and I was a vendor for Office Depot and many other companies, national vendor.
Yeah. So, kind of like Asher, you like took up the family.
Yeah,
business.
This came along later in life, pretty much.
But they were in sodas, right?
They were in what?
Sodas.
No. My natural father died when I was 5 years old, and his family, my grandparents, were in the beverage business. Yeah, soft drinks.
Okay. Cool.
So I was really not in that business. I was for a very short time a partner, but many years ago, going back to the mid 40s.
Oh wow.
Oh dang! All right.
Yeah.
That's cool. All different type of backgrounds, all doing something creative, which is always awesome to hear.
Asher, would you? Oh, what's up, Phines?
Oh, I wanted to know what Sierra's parents thought of her career choice.
No, they're really supportive. Like they knew I was. So okay, let's think about this. So when I was in, I've gotten like 12 emails, and they're all like real emails. They're not spam. Just in recording this, I've gotten so many important emails. Anyway, when I was in like, I think I was in high school and I really wanted to be a voice actor. And I came home one day and I was like, oh my gosh, Dad, don't worry. I've got it. I've got the plan. I know what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to do in college, all of it. Don't worry. And he was like, all right, lay it on me. And I was like, I'm going to be a voice actress. I've got it all planned out. I know who Chris Sabat is. I know who Jennifer Hale is. I know I've got it. It's already set. And he's like, that's so great. I'm really happy for you. So then like, what are you actually going to do? And I was like, oh, okay. So then when I got to college, I started doing more just television and like film production stuff. And they were like, oh, that's great. And I was like, that'll work. And I was like, good, good, good. We're all on the same page now. It's all going to work out. Don't worry, guys. No matter what happens, there's always going to be an entertainment industry. Nothing could stop that. Don't worry. So
people will always want to be entertained. It'll come back.
don't worry.
Oh yeah.
It'll be fine. There could be a war, but there'll still be somebody tap dancing on stage for the troops. It'll be okay.
That could be you.
It'll
We
be
always
me.
need a Chester.
Honestly. So yeah.
Sierra,
cool.
when you in your studies, were you into the mechanical aspect of production or more of the production? By that I mean the equipment that's used and editing and so forth. What is that something that you learned at all in your studies or along the way, or have you stuck mostly to the production of things?
So my major was actually super weird because it was more like a survey of all kinds of production without really focusing on anything specific that you can be like, this is my niche, my portfolio is full of this, like this is my ham and cheese sandwich. I don't know why I said that. So I've kind of learned about like a lot of I've kind of I feel like I have a little bit of knowledge about a whole lot of things in the whole process. So like I've had experience with like the pre-production and like the story development and writing a lot. I pretend that I write often, and the production side, I've had to be on set for a lot of like smaller student projects, and so I have some experience trying to do that kind of stuff. And I like to edit. I like to edit a lot. So like I'm a freelance editor right now. So please send me jobs and money. I'm editing right now, and that's, I would say editing and writing are maybe my favorite things, but I kind of have an idea of a variety of different jobs and roles.
Like if I mentioned, for instance, a Canon C300, does that mean anything to you?
Oh, right. Back to your question. No, I don't know anything about equipment. I know very little about it. I like that's like one like bad spot is I don't have a lot of info. Like it seems like every time I end up needing something, I learn way too much about it. So like I don't know a lot about like cameras and lenses. I feel like maybe audio. I know a bit about like the actual hardware of audio, but all those mechanics and lenses and lights, I could tell you what I need it to look like or what I need it to do, but I don't know exactly how to get there.
The important
So
part.
you're more in the creative area.
Yeah,
more in the
yeah.
creative area than the equipment. That's what I was trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
You miss the voiceover acting side of it, Sierra?
I'm still doing that. I actually just started doing that because of the pandemic, so
Yeah.
didn't have a chance. I graduated college last year, so I was actually supposed to just like work for a little bit and then move down to Austin and start my new life barbecuing scorpions under moonlight. But now there's a plague, so I'm not doing that anymore. But I am still voice acting. That's the only reason I'm on backstage.
Can I ask who you're working with on that, or is it just backstage? I'm curious.
I am just floundering in the wind. I'm on backstage. I'm on Twitter.
That's right. No, that's why I
I'm on
asked, because
Discord.
there's a company I think it's in Austin called Funimation. I am dying to work for, and I need someone who
Bro.
works for them to let me in.
Find that person and then just like text me because
I will.
I love Funimation.
Yes.
We love Funimation. You should be watching.
Yeah, Funimation.
To get jobs with these companies, do you need an agent, or that's not a necessary thing?
It depends on what company you're going for. Like, say Funimation is a dubbing for Japanese animation down in Texas. You don't need to agent, but they like who they have, so it's very hard to get in with them. So if you
Yeah.
have an agent or some sort of representation, it shows, hey, this person is qualified to work in your studio. It's not some kid off the block saying, hey, I have a voice, let me talk on a microphone.
Right.
That's the difficult part of it.
Let's say you have someone, or you have a connection with someone that's a well-known performer or star, whatever. Do they have any influence in who else would be used in a movie or whatever, or does that strictly come through the director or producer or whatever?
From my experience, they have a huge a possibility of getting you on productions, especially depending on the actor. I know there's been quite a few actors who have said, "Hey, director, we're changing the script entirely. I'm not doing this," and
Yeah.
they have the right to do that. So, depending on how famous and how much power you have pretty much all of the power to do or bring anybody on if you want to.
I see. Thank you.
It's interesting how much power they have nowadays.
Wow.
We actually have, I'm sorry, we actually have our last caller is on the line, waiting ever so patiently. But
Right.
thanks for coming, Asher.
Thank
We
you, yeah.
appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me here. I
We'll
really
s-
appreciate it.
We'll stay
Thanks
on
so
that
much.
VA
You're an
grind
inter-
together.
If
You're
I
an
do want
interesting,
an RV, I'll hit you up.
Please do. All right. Have a good one, everyone.
You too.
You
See
too.
ya.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Annie.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you guys hear me okay?
You sound
Yeah,
great.
perfect.
How are you doing?
Cool. All right. I'm really good. So let me understand this. The topic is following your dreams versus facing reality. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Pretty
Okay.
free flow from
So,
that. But
okay. And so the idea being like that conundrum between what you want to manifest and then like just what you have to do every day to get by.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can completely relate. Prior to this whole COVID situation, I'd been running a theater company for 11 years, and we were 54 shows in. It was all I did. It was my whole job. It sounds really romantic, but it was actually just more administrative than I think. When you think of a theater, you know, you think of acting, obviously, and you think of the stage and adrenaline, and all of that was there. It was great. But I spent a lot of time, writing emails, posting ads, stuff like that. So believe it or not, when this whole thing happened, it felt like I had been given a door into a place of freedom that I'm now in. Obviously, it's scary because, you know, when you do something for such a long time, it's like this unknown, but at the same time it's really exciting. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, and I mean it's really amazing. I've through Facebook, just in my community, I've had a lot of friends that are going through the exact same thing, and it sucks that it feels like there's a stigma around shifting or moving, you know, of negativity when it can be such a positive thing. From what I've
Yeah,
seen.
I mean, and you know, the thing with theater in New York City, I'm just in terms of like facing the music, facing reality. Um, they say that Broadway is going to open up here in January, and there's just no way. There's no way. And if Broadway
Yeah.
doesn't open up,
Nope.
then that means off Broadway isn't, and off Broadway isn't, and comedy isn't, which was another thing I was doing. And so then it's like, okay, now what? Plan B. And I'm almost done writing a screenplay, which I'm really excited about, and putting together a bunch of poetry that I'd had collected for years and years and now want to publish. And also sleeping, like
Mhm.
sleeping,
Yeah.
uh, meditating, taking walks every single day with my dog, spending
Mhm.
time with my boyfriend. So, the thing about, visualization and the law of attraction and manifestation is that people, they have dreams, they have aspirations, and change is a lot harder than it sounds. Usually people don't make dramatic changes unless something happens to them, like they get pregnant or they get fired, or you know what I mean? It's very difficult to make a change, a determined change out of nowhere. And
Right.
so the best approach is to, instead of going, hey, I want to own a restaurant, and then get bogged down in all the details of that, just spend 15 minutes every day, like researching people in the restaurant industry, or researching the kind of foods you like, or like watching clips about people in the food business, for example. And then
Mhm.
all of a sudden things will start to shift, and like one thing will lead to the next, that will lead to the next. And then you find yourself working for an hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours, and you don't even feel the time go by. That's when you're in the flow. That's like when you're in the zone. So, I really get how this is such a pivotal and massive time for every single person on this planet. And you do have two ways of looking at it. Um, no matter how dire your situation is. So, so I'm choosing the positive.
Yeah.
I like that.
Why not? You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you're gonna go
Yeah, you
down
have
the
time. You have time that you really haven't had sometimes in the past. With this situation, you have more
Right.
time
Yeah.
available.
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you guys feel the same way? I mean, do you find that to be the case?
I mean, facing the reality of sleeping every day, that's something new for me. Like,
Yeah.
so
Is it really, or are you being sarcastic?
Yeah.
no, I mean, I'm sleeping more now than I ever have been, which I think in a way is like, whoa, what's going on? But it also feels good, because I'm not like in a crazy pursuit constantly.
Mhm.
A lot of things have
Mhm.
also shifted for me. Is the theater company, was the 57th show the last one, or what's going on with it?
Uh, well, I told the group at the time that we disbanded, I want to say there were about 28 actors in my company. And in the beginning, I did what a lot of people are doing now in the theater industry, which was having workshops on Zoom.
Mhm.
But I just felt like that's not the medium for it. I'm sorry, it's not. That's called TV and film.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it was great. It was great. I was glad that we had those 6 or 7 weeks just to kind of have some FaceTime through that like very jarring phase. But I said, guys, like it's time to take a hiatus. And I'm not saying we're never coming back, but when we do, it's got to be bigger, better, stronger,
Yeah.
and we have to be in the right place. Um, so that's kind of where I'm at, and I think it's just a really there's something about having your whole life turned upside down and everything taken from you, where there's a lot of freedom. There's a lot of
Yeah.
freedom in that. Because ultimately, it sounds cliche, but all we have is right now. We have right now. I have right now. I have right now, and I have right now. So it's like, okay, what's the next right thing? And sometimes it is just as simple as taking a walk or like reading an article. Whereas, I mean, I'm not sure what cities are you guys in? Are you in New York?
Chicago.
Yeah. I'm in New York.
Philadelphia.
Chicago.
Philadelphia.
Okay. Okay.
I think two of
Okay.
us
So
are
you
in New
guys
York.
are all in cities where, yeah, okay, yeah. So Chicago, Philadelphia, New York, yeah. So the city is like, it's like a character, it's like a person in and of itself. And I think right now, what's so great about New York City, particularly where I live in Inwood by Fort Tryon Park up in Washington Heights, um, it's like the first time in 7 years that I'm seeing so many groups, like diversity in the park, like picnics, like families and friends, people just talking, like not looking at their phones, but like making eye contact and connecting. And there's something really beautiful about that.
It is.
So,
Yeah, I mean, coming from the acting world too, people always pose this hypothetical where they're like, "What would you do if there was no acting?" You know, and it's like, okay, okay. But then I think starting in March, we really got to experience what that felt like. Um, and it's pretty intense. It was like I mean, positive and negative in a lot of ways, but just like, what do you like? What do you want to do? How do you spend your time? You know?
well, and it's the phoenix rising from the ashes. I mean, the day that I told my company we were going on hiatus, I bawled for like 8 hours straight.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you can be flippant about this, but sometimes in a rebirth phase, something has to die. It's like the tarot card, the death card. Like a lot of people think it's this ominous. Actually, it's just transformation. Um,
Mm-mm.
so So yeah, I'm feeling like I've done a whole 180 in the last 6 months.
Hmm.
Um, and I imagine a lot of people are. But you go through phases with it. It's like I think it's the 5 stages of grief.
Hmm.
You go back and forth. You kind of bounce around. You go from like acceptance to whatever denial in like an hour, and then you're like, but in terms of where you guys are at, and why you chose this particular topic, was it in relation to COVID-19, or is this something you're thinking about?
Ah, that's my grandpa's conscience calling. This came about honestly. I'm sure the world as it is right now had something to do with it, but like my grandpa and I were just talking about. I think it got started with like fame, right? We were talking about his singing career, his vocal stuff, and he said something along the lines of like, "Oh, I'm too old to be pursuing that now," and
Oh, I
yeah, yeah,
see.
yeah. We're just it felt like a super curious thing. And I mean, it's funny that I feel like now we're living through this time and all of this stuff is happening and a lot of people are having to face that paradigm or whatever it is, you
Hmm.
know. So yeah, what
I know it
like
sounds
advice?
corny, but I
No, no,
love
no,
the
yeah.
show America's Got Talent because it has so many older people that are like, F it, man. I'm doing it. I'm
Yeah.
going for it.
You can't
That
see my
show makes
grandpa's
me cry
face,
like a
but
baby.
my
Wow.
grandpa's really offended right now that you called him old.
Um,
Oh, well, I said
No.
older.
uh,
Have you ever seen the dancing grandma? I think she does like crazy swings and stuff on AGT.
wow,
Crazy
you're already
Swing.
acronymed it.
Oh,
Wait, is she the one with
real
like
fans.
the
I know, right?
nipple, like the nipple? What are they called? Like what strippers wear? Like back in the day when they were
Pasty,
like,
Pasties.
yeah, is
pasty.
that the one?
Yeah,
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Isn't that wild? Like which old woman like on
Yeah.
America's Got Talent with the
Exactly.
pasties?
I know. I was just, I know. I was just thinking that you're like, wait a minute, is it the one that's riding the donkey? And no, it's not her.
Ah,
It's the
The
one with the
one
roller
doing
skates. Okay,
headstands,
got it.
like
Right. Exactly. Exactly. No, the one doing keg stands. But
right,
yeah. Anyway,
exactly.
no, I don't think I've seen her, but I'll check her out.
no, it's just super cool because it's just like all of these people doing things that I couldn't do above the age of 80, and it's inspiring that like, oh well, I could get there. There is no end, you know.
yeah. I
Right.
can't. So you
Right.
make it by saying I can't, I suppose.
Well, it's funny because the whole thing in terms of my theater company career began with a man named Richmond Shepard. You could Google him. He died as the world's oldest mime last year, and he and I were best friends.
What's his
We
last name?
actually ran theater together. His name is Richmond Shepard. And Richmond and I were like, he said, he would always say, "I'm your best girlfriend." We were very tight, very, very close. And, you know, I had a lot of older people in my company to the point where an actress walked up to me one day and she goes, "Do you have like a grandparent complex or something?" And I was like, "No, I just don't." I just like the way I see it, it's just like I actually really loved having the older people in the company because they were such a great influence on younger people. Like if you are like an actor in your early 20s, you're not going to talk smack in front of like a dude who was in Vietnam. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to like I don't know if I can cuss on this thing, but you're not going to like
Yes,
shit
you
on
can.
somebody else. Yeah, you're not going to like shit on somebody else in front of David, who was like, you know, in the Vietnam, and he's sitting there and he's like survived cancer and he's like, cool as
Yeah.
ice. You're just not going to do that. So there's something to be said for that, and I think it's really it's cool that you guys are doing this podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, every time
Welcome.
I feel like I'm hanging out with someone from the silent generation or grandpa, like I just feel like it's really like always enlightening and just as fun or more so than hanging out with one of my friends, you know. So, what do you think, Grandpa?
I accept that you feel that way.
Yeah.
It's good
On
to,
that,
it's good, good to
we
finally hear
hit
the truth.
440. Thank you so much for coming on. I
Thank you
think we
guys.
gotta
Thank
wrap
you.
it up and then come back in a bit. But
Cool. All right.
yeah.
You're an interesting lady.
Thank you. You're an interesting fellow. Have a great afternoon.
You
All right,
too. Good
Thank
luck.
you.
Keep
thank you.
grinding.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Wabango.
Cool.
Podcasting with Grandpa Bart and Rosie, always on his shoulder. This is Grandpa and Chill.
Grandpa and Chill is brought to you by your hosts, Brandon Fox, Bart Frank, and Phines Jackson. Our producer is Sierra Doss. You can find episodes old and new on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch the show, and follow us on Twitter for behind-the-scenes moments you can't get anywhere else.